What's up, guys? You're back with another YouTube video, and today's video we talk about this major hurricane that could impact many islands and potentially the east coast of the US and some severe weather in the Dakotas. Let's get right into this video. Erin is currently a tropical storm with wind speeds of 58 miles an hour and wind gusts of 69 miles an hour and a minimum pressure of 999 millibars. This storm is definitely looking a lot more pronounced and a lot more organized than it did a few days ago, and it's definitely going to strengthen significantly and will be a hurricane, maybe even a major hurricane, by the time my next video comes out here over the next few days or so, as this storm is really going to strengthen, and the National Hurricane Center is expecting this thing to turn into a major Category 3 hurricane as it heads north towards portions of the eastern coast of the U.S. and could bring impacts towards Puerto Rican Islands and the U.S. Virgin Islands regions, as this is already a pretty pronounced system. Now, if we take a look at the tropical storm force wind probabilities, we already have actually some tropical storm force wind probabilities in some of the northern islands, including portions of northern Puerto Rico, the British Virgin Islands, the U.S. Virgin Islands, into St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda, and portions of Guadalupe areas, where we do have a 40 to 50, 30 to 40% chance of tropical storm force winds in these areas, as tropical storm force winds could push into those areas late Friday into early Saturday morning time frame, where we could see some dangerous tropical storm force winds. And not just that, well, the seas will be really dangerous. We'll be having waves above 8 feet, maybe even up to 14 feet waves, where it's going to be really rough out there. You don't even want to be on the beach if you are in any of these areas. If I were you, I just wouldn't travel. If you are going on vacation in any of these tropical islands, I would not advise you to do that, as it's not going to be a fun trip. You won't enjoy it at all. It's not going to be enjoying at all. And some of these tropical storm force winds maybe could even reach portions of the Bahamas. It really depends on how this shifts. If it shifts close to the Bahamas, it could cause more impacts, but definitely be on alert there in the Bahamas, as this thing could reach that area around the Sunday time frame into Monday, once that reaches portions of the Bahamas too. Now, if we take a look at one of the spaghetti models from the ensembles here, the GEFS ensemble right now, this system does show that this system will go out to sea. There is a little bit of ensemble showing that this thing will get close to the East Coast. Now, we are starting to get closer, and there's a little more certainty now, but you can see the spaghetti tracks do spread out a lot by the time they make it there, and they're a little bit closer right there. That's because there's still a little bit more uncertainty. So there's still potential this thing reaches somewhere in the U.S., It's just uncertain right now. We will get more details once we get closer, but right now, most of the models are hinting that this thing is going to be a pretty strong system that does go out to sea, and it could bring some isolated strong winds, but really high surf and dangerous rip currents for most of the East Coast portions of the U.S. And one of the main things is that this potential track could hit pretty close to Bermuda areas. We are watching that too, as some of the tracks go over Bermuda. It could either go further to the east or closer to Bermuda, so we definitely need to be watching that too, as it could cause dangerous impacts for Bermuda. If we take a look at the potential intensity guidance of this system, it is expected to be a pretty strong system here, Category 2, Category 3, maybe even a Category 4 hurricane. A lot of the National Hurricane Center says this thing is going to become a major hurricane, Category 3, a high-end one, actually. I do think this thing could reach a high-end Category 3, maybe even a low-end Category 4 at its peak position. That's why we definitely need to be watching this system, and it could be pretty dangerous here, as it's going to be a really strong system. Now, the last thing in the tropics that I do want to mention is we do have this Invest 98L over here in portions of the Gulf of Mexico, which does have a 40% chance of tropical development. It is heading towards portions of the Texas coast. It's going to take a track basically right like that, really between the border of Texas and Mexico. There's not much space in the water for this to really grow into a tropical system, but some of the models are hinting that it could be either a weak tropical depression or a very weak tropical storm. If it does even form with this system, it is definitely possible, but no matter what, it will bring some really heavy rain, potential flash flooding to portions of southern Texas and northern Mexico, so definitely be prepared for that. Really close to Corpus Christi, Matamoros, and Reynosa, and McAllen regions in the southern portions of Texas. Now, for the severe weather, we do have a slight risk of severe storms in effect today across portions of Jamestown, Fargo, Grand Forks areas, and portions of North Dakota and Minnesota regions, where an isolated tornado too is possible, damaging winds and large to very large hail, potentially above 2 inches in diameter, possible in these regions, that these storms will develop in the late afternoon to early evening hours, so definitely be prepared for that. If we take a look at the ARRR model for the timing of this system, we could see some severe storms start to develop late night tonight, probably around 7, 8, maybe 9, or even 10 p.m. hours across portions of North Dakota, Minnesota, and the border of Canada, where we could see some severe storms in the parts of Canada here too in the top right of your screen there. But there's going to be some weak forcing, so there's still some uncertainties if we do see storms develop. But there's going to be a ton, and I mean a ton of instability in the atmosphere. If we take a look at this, we're going to be seeing 2,000, 3,000, maybe even up to 4,000 joules per kilogram of CAPE, so plenty of that. So if any storms form, they will be explosive with some big hailers and an isolated tornado too. We just don't know 100% if we're going to see storms develop, but if it happens, be prepared around 7 or 8 p.m. All right, the last thing we're going to be talking about in today's video is a slight risk of severe storms that we do have an effect across portions of Wisconsin in the extreme eastern portion of Minnesota, here really close to the Twin Cities, but includes Eau Claire, Wausau, all the way over to Rhinelander, in portions of La Crosse regions, really close to Three Lakes and Phillips and Rice Lake areas and portions of Wisconsin, where an isolated tornado actually could be possible with this. We do have an isolated risk of tornadoes, especially across portions of northern Wisconsin and the Twin Cities areas. We do need to be well aware for an isolated tornado possible. It could be upgraded, and I might go live that day in case anything severe does happen. But besides that, there's going to be a risk of wind and hail across these regions too, so be prepared tomorrow. Alright, I hope everybody did enjoy this video. Make sure to like and subscribe to my channel. We are going to be seeing that dangerous tropical system that is going to become a major hurricane as it enters some of the southern Atlantic, really warm, dangerous waters there. We're still a little uncertain on the impact for the East Coast, but right now it's looking like it's going to go out to sea and miss portions of the East Coast, but could cause some dangerous surf and be safe there in portions of the tropical islands of the Lesser Antilles and the portions of Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, maybe even the Bahamas, and especially Bermuda areas that could see some tropical impacts from this system. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. There's also going to be some isolated severe weather in the Dakotas and Wisconsin areas. Hope you guys did enjoy this video, and bye everybody.